Today we'll talk about network service mesh and Istio multi-cluster integration. Before we will discuss it, we will start with what is NSM. NSM is hybrid multi-cloud IP service mesh that makes complex networking simple. NSM adapts traditional service mesh ideas to serve layer 3 payloads. NSM looks at network as a service. NSM also runs everywhere on any clouds or virtual machine setups or something special like bare metal, for example, Equinix metal clusters. And also NSM supports different data planes. Also, I will repeat it, but with my representation. So NSM, it's just service mesh, like the Istio. The main difference between NSM and Istio is that NSM works on layer 3 and layer 4 of OSI model. It means that in most cases, your client and endpoint has a virtual network, and client and endpoint have a network interface to communicate with each other. Also, major thing that NSM doesn't use gateways or layer 7 proxies in traditional sense. So we are using only network and network interfaces. Main entity and NSM is a network service mesh. And yes, in most cases, you will operate with network interfaces when you're using NSM. Also, in presentation, you can find all currently supported data planes. I will not explain each topic because it will took many time. And also, let's look at a basic NSM scenario, just for your understanding what is NSM. Here, we can see that the simple picture. So in most cases, we have client. Client wants some network service, and client always asks for network service, network service mesh. It requests it with by gRPC services, and as a result, client gets virtual wire with concrete endpoint that implements network service. So in NSM, we have two major abstraction. The first one is network service. It's something like interface in programming. And also we have the second major entity is network service mesh endpoint. It's like implementation of the programming interface in programming. I think that's it with NSM intro, and we can continue talk about our motivation for this integration. So we want to run Istio over NSM network. We want to achieve Istio cross-cluster communication without additional layer 7 proxies or something like ingress or other additional workloads that currently are using in service meshes. Also, we wanted to allow Istio to interact with NSM clusters, and we also want to don't modify source code for NSM and for Istio. So now let's talk about example from the real world for this use case that I'll show you. So, for example, in some moment, we might need to migrate the old monolith system with some old monolith style services into Kubernetes. And we also want to use Istio as a service mesh for all migrated services from the monolith. But when we started to migrate our monolith in Kubernetes, we realized that some services are impossible to move for some reason. Probably something is super hard-coded and so on. And now we need to make a new services in Kubernetes work with old services from the monolith. And we also want to use Istio for the system. So, solution here for this case could be is using NSM and Istio integration. So, for example, we have something like that. We have some bare metal server. We have some cloud. We have another bare metal server where we have some Docker application that is exposed, and we also have something like virtual machine, and we also have Kubernetes cluster with Istio workloads. So and we want to make communication with all workloads, and to achieve it, we can use we can use NSM. So we can just deploy network service mesh for all our environments, and as you know, NSM is working everywhere. So actually it's possible to run it in all our environment. And when we use NSM on this environment, we also could use one feature from NSM that we named like scale from zero. It allows to create workload pod. It's something like a mirror from the workload from the environment. So, for example, as you can see, for bare metal 1, we have workload 3. And when we use NSM and autoscale feature, it will create a workload 3 agent for Kubernetes cluster. And also, major thing that workload 3 agent is actually handled by network service mesh, and it also handled by Istio. So it just have two annotations. So let's a bit talk about what is proxy itself. I mean these agents from this scheme. So agent is like just a pod that has Istio annotation, because as you can see, workload 3 is running in the cluster where we have Istio system. So Istio will handle this proxy and will append Istio proxy sidecar. And it also is using network service mesh endpoint. It's just a container with application. here you can see proxy that we named like layer 7 proxy, but actually it just proxies traffic from NSM interface to Istio sidecar. So layer 7 means here that we proxy traffic from NSM to Istio layer 7 proxy. Small conclusion about proxy. Proxy is just a mirror of the original workload. Proxy uses Istio label. Proxy is an NSM endpoint based on NSM SDK. And proxy doesn't modify NSM and Istio source code. And it's also, the proxy itself doesn't use layer 7 proxy handling, but as I said, it proxies traffic to the Istio proxy that actually is a layer 7 application. And also the super major note that the proxy has super performance because it's working on layer 3 and layer 4. Let's look at data path architecture for use case that I show here. I mean this scheme. So here for workload will be for workload data path looks like that. We have NSM interface in the workload that is located in outside of the Istio cluster. It's connected with layer 7 proxy that has Istio that has an NSM interface like NSM endpoint, and all traffic from this interface is proxying to the Istio sidecar without any code modifications for Istio. So now let's look at demo from for this scenario. Currently, I prepared press it up. Let's look at this a bit in details. So for first cluster, it's actually is a real working Google Cloud cluster. It has, at this moment, it has only NSM service mesh on the board. And also it has Spire because we are using Spire for authorization and for security reason. Also, as you know, Istio is also supports Spire, so I guess you already know about Spire. And let's look at the second cluster. Orange terminal is for AWS. Here we have a real working AWS cluster. And here we already have a few things. So first of all, we have Aspire. Secondly, we have NSM system. And finally, we have Istio application, Istio service mesh. And also, we have deployed here we deployed here Istio example, just from quick demo. I mean example with about booking. Let's and now let's look at the example from AWS cluster. So for that, we can just do port forward for product page from AWS cluster. Okay, port forwarding is working. Now let's verify it. So as you can see, port forward is working, but here you see is just basic book info sample from the Istio repository. Here is no changes. Currently, we don't see NSM here. I just show you that example is working. So now let's return to the Google cluster. And here, as you can see, we also have deployed product page. As you know, this example is shows how is working services in Kubernetes and Istio, and all content here is dynamic, and it is loading from different services. For example, reviews are loading from reviews service. Ratings are loading from rating service, and so on. So let's return to the Google Cloud. Here we have product page that actually, and this cluster have not any ratings, and it haven't any details and review services. And it shouldn't work actually because it haven't access to the resources. But here, product page is also a client for NSM, and NSM is already do work for connection. This product page with AWS cluster. Let's just describe product page pods. I want to just show that product page is just simple booking info product page without modifications, and also this pod has NSM annotation. You can see it here. Here we can see that this pod is a client for a network service mesh, and it wants to be connected with Autoscale Istio proxy endpoint. It's actually a pod from AWS cluster. It's give me a second. It's this pods. As you can see, it's just a pod with one container. This container is just a network service mesh endpoint, so we don't have Istio here. And also, you can see here NSM domain, my cluster 2. It's just domain name for AWS cluster. And also you can see here kernel. It's a type of interface that will be created for this product page. We'll see it a bit later. And also you can see here query parameters like NSM1 and app product page. NSM1 means name of network interface. So now let's just port forward this pod. Let's stop port forward from AWS and let's start port forward from Google Cloud. cluster. So port forward is started. I'm refreshing the page, and as you can see, we have the same result for this product page. All content is loading, and to verify that we actually have access to the second cluster, we actually can do something like TCP dump and check our network. But for quick demo, we can just delete something from the AWS cluster. For example, we can remove reviews service from the AWS cluster and verify that the change will be applied for the product page from Google Cloud. So I'm deleting boy from the AWS cluster. I'm deleting reviews with version 3. As I know, it's when reviews version 3 answers, UI show is like red stars. So since I have deleted reviews version 3, will not see red stars here. Let's check it. I will do a few refreshes, and as you can see, we have responses only from reviews version 1 and version 2. So looks like our integration is working. So now let's try to delete reviews version 2 to verify it. So now we will not see stars when we'll refresh the page. And as you can see, we don't see stars on refresh. So also, I want to try to do something. It's actually not a part of a demo, but I think it could be useful for you to understand what is going on. So here we can delete, for example, rating service from the AWS cluster. And when we delete it, we will see errors on our product page. As you can see, something happened, and we don't see any details. Oh, sorry, we don't see any ratings now because we have deleted it. And now we'll reapply rating service, but for Google Cloud. So this moment we don't have it. Let's check it. Yes, as you can see, we just have only product page for Google Cloud. Okay, let's just and before we apply it, let's just quick look into this deployment. Here, as you can see, it's just a ratings service, ratings deployment, but it has NSM annotation. It means that when we apply it, NSM will append NSM sidecards for this for pods for this deployment. So, and also you can see here the same annotation as we saw for product page from Google Cloud. So actually, this annotation is needed to be connected with AWS cluster. So let's apply it. Oh, also one major thing, we need to apply it for Google Clouds. Okay, and we apply it. As you can see, ratings deployment has been created. Let's check it. As you can see, ratings server started to init, and when will be needed for this pod for this AWS cluster will be oh, it's already created. As you can see, we have proxy ratings service for AWS cluster, but it's just a mirror, just a lightweight NSM proxy. So let's check, is it started? Yes, as you can see, it's started. And now we can verify it. So now I'm, oh, for now we will not see any results because we need to port forward. Okay, we do port forward for Google cluster product page. And as you can see, oh, probably, I'm not sure, but looks like it's, we don't see any updates. Oh, give me a moment to verify it. We can port forward from product page from the AWS cluster. I'm just forget, but looks like it's actually review. Looks like it's working, but let me verify it. We can delete product page and check that we don't see any reviews. Or I mean, any. Oh, sorry, we have applied ratings version 1 for cluster 1. It means that we can delete ratings wedding from.
You've got a typo in your kubectl command there.
Oh, sorry. We can delete. Oh, looks like it's correct. It's looking correct to me. Okay, let's just delete ratings and verify that we will not see ratings on product page. Okay, ratings has been deleted. And we need to port forward again. And it looks the same to me. Probably something missed. Okay. I think we can deploy with it. So give me a moment. We can. I'll show another use case. For this, I need to get booking info example. Oh, we can in online mode do something interesting. We can get reviews version 3 from original example of Istio, and we can try to make it like NSM client. Yes, for this we need to restore our annotation. And let's try to apply it. It's looking correct to me. I just added an NSM annotation for reviews service. Okay, let's try to apply it for Google Cloud again. Looks like we have something wrong. Okay, it looks like I see the problem. Let's try to apply it. Okay, rating reviews version 3 has been applied, and I'm not sure will it work, but be a nice demo for you. Okay, for this moment I don't see that it has been applied. By some reason it's not already. Okay, let's look at this deployment. Okay, by some reason it's not available. It's interesting actually. Oh, it's yes, it's not ready. Okay, give me a few minutes to poke with it. Try to repair situation. Okay, probably we could apply it like a pod. Let's try it. Create a copy product page, but I will just replace container with Istio application.
So it may help to simply go on to explaining sort of like the underlying point of the demos rather than continuing to try and beat on it live.
Yes, I agreed with that, but give me one last try to apply it. I think it should work. Okay, let's replace product page with reviews. Agree. Want to let's just replace it. And now we can try to apply it directly like a pod. I'm actually not sure why deployment hasn't started. I think it's probably related to my Google Cloud. Okay, I have just applied reviews like a pod. Let's look, will it work? And I also don't see it. I think probably something is wrong with my Google Cloud. So it just didn't applies anything by some reason. Oh, I see it. It's also looks like a deployment. And by some reason, this deployment is not started.
Yeah, it may make sense to come back to sort of refocusing on the point of the demo and then maybe taking some questions.
Yes, I think we can skip this part. So I just wanted to show additional extreme part of using it, but unfortunately we get some problems with Google Cloud. Yes, we can return to the presentation. Oh, before we move to the presentation, let me show NSM interfaces for product page. Just want to show you how NSM is work. So here I'm in a product page, and here we can see that we have an NSM interface. And as you can see, we have a virtual network here, and also this example, the part with product page worked with this interface. It's just a start point of our virtual wire, and here we can also see at endpoint for virtual wire. Endpoint here is a proxy product page. So, and we can just exec it. Yes, and as you can see here for endpoint, we also have network service mesh interface, which in client network. To verify it, we can use ping, and ping from endpoint we can ping client, and from client, we can ping endpoints. So all.
Given I think we're running the last 15 minutes or so of the call, would it make sense to sort of summarize what we've seen in terms of the demo and the point of it and so forth, and then take questions?
Yep, I think we can just summarize all what we saw. So now let's talk about pros and cons of this integration and this extension case. It's here Istio worked in single cluster scenarios. For this demo, Istio thought that all communication is done under a single cluster, but actually Istio worked in multi-cluster scenario. The second was that we did not use egresses, external services to achieve all services from Istio cluster, and also Istio cluster has communicated with NSM cluster without any changes. For this solution, we also have currently cons that, as you saw, for all workloads, we are creating proxy pods, and it's not free, and it takes resources. But in future, we are planning to simplify this solution, and we want to use virtual layer 3 feature from NSM that will solve the problem with resources. And communication with clusters will look like on this picture. Also, in the presentation, you can find all links, and you can run all demos on your laptop. For this, you need just to copy-paste commands from the example and repeat it. And also, you can find more information about extension use case that I show. So mostly that's it from me.